Hey everyone, Kevin here with Divinely Designed, and we have a paper crafting video. I did a little video just a little while ago about this exploding photo box. It wasn't a tutorial, it was just sort of reviewing it because I did this box over several days. You know, I would work on it for a couple hours in the evening, but it took a while. So I've had a bunch of requests to do a tutorial on how to make an exploding photo box. So that's what I'm going to do today. I've pre-cut a lot of stuff, but I'm hoping to do this in real time and not speed up a lot of the video. So I'm going to get right into it. While this one was sort of a very feminine one, I'm going to do more of a masculine one today. So I'm going to be using some blue themes. And so what you'll need is four pieces of solid color 12 by 12 paper, and I'm doing different colors. This is going to be the outside, and this is the lid, so that's why they match, but then the two layers in between are different blues. And then you'll need 7 pattern pieces of 12 by 12 paper. Now, I'm using this stack here from DCWV called the Linen Closet, which is kind of in blues and golds and some yellows and some tan. And I'm using all 12 by 12 pieces of paper, but you do end up with, if you do that, you'll end up with, this is the leftovers. I've cut everything out and everything's ready to go, but this is the leftover. So you don't have to use 12 by 12s, but that's what I'm doing this box in. Some of the pattern pieces you use could obviously be from 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper. You just need to cut them to the particular size. But for the dimensions for this box, I'm going to put them down in the description below, and I'm using all 12 by 12 pieces of paper. So I have a bunch of different patterns, all from that same pattern stack, so they're all sort of coordinated together, and then they're going to be kind of in the blue theme. You're going to need some glue, a scoring board, and this is sort of optional, but as I build the layers, I actually like to put them on a piece of foam. So if you don't have, this is double-sided foam that I've cut, but if you don't have that, you could use foam squares or foam tape. Either of those will work. And the other piece that's not paper is a piece of chipboard. And this is 3 7/8 by 3 7/8, and it's going to go in the top of our lid to help reinforce the lid. Okay? All right, so let's get started. I have pre-measured and scored a few things, but like I said, I'm going to try to do some of this in real time. So let's start with the outside of the box. Now this is just a 12 by 12 piece of solid paper, nothing done to it, and I'm going to use my scoring board, and I'm going to score it at 4 inches and at 8 inches. Turn it, score it at 4 and 8 again. Now, this box isn't going to be quite as complicated as my other box, but we are going to do something a little special with it. So now what I want to do is for each each row here, we're going to make 4 cuts, and the cut is going to be from here to here, just that cut. And how we're going to do it is I'm going to take my X-Acto blade here, and I'm going to keep it right on my scoring board and just cut right to where those lines meet. Okay? Then I'm going to turn it 90 degrees and do the same thing. So we're going to make a total of 4 cuts. Okay. Now this is the outside of the box, so it's the biggest one. It's going to form the outside as well as the bottommost layer on the inside. Now there are 2 other layers. There's the second layer. This piece of paper is 10.5 by 10.5, and the scoring is done at 3.5 by, I'm sorry, let me show you because that'll be easier so people can follow along. So 3.5 and 7, and you're going to turn it and then score at 3.5 and 7, and then just like we did on the other one, we're going to cut down one of those. Okay, so this will be our second layer, and then the first and the smallest one is 9 by 9, and we're going to score it at 3 inches and 6 inches. Turn it, score it 3 and 6 again. And then again, we're going to cut right there. And that's going to be our 3 different layers. All right. So this is going to be the inside of the box. This is going to be the outside of the box. Okay? So I'm going to put my pattern pieces of paper on before I start folding, actually. So I'm gonna start on the outside of the box. For the outside of the box, I'm using this kind of brown and floral pattern. Now, we're gonna fold this in a little bit. So the only places I need to put this brown is on the 4 middle panels, and then we'll put it on the bottom here. The one on the bottom's optional. But, you know, we're going to do it. Okay. Let's see. And I think that's, so we're just going to glue these down. And they should fit, oh, I'm sorry, these squares are 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. And for this pattern, I'm going to do the same pattern kind of on all of my panels, you know, so each one will have a different panel, but they'll all be the same. We're going to need a total of 6 of these, because we're going to put one on the lid as well. So we have 5 here that are going to go on the outside of the box, and then another one of the same pattern that's going to go on the lid. Okay. So this is the outside of our box. Let's turn it over, and we're going to do some burnishing. So we want to burnish kind of all the sides here. This one's not. Okay, so why did I leave those attached and why did we cut them? Because we're going to fold these in like this. Give these a good burnish here. So this is the bottommost layer of our exploding box. So when you open it up, this will be on the bottom, and we have 4 panels here that we're going to have as our first place that they could put photos. And then what they'll be able to do is swing these open, and then we're going to have panels underneath it that they will also be able to put photos. So we're kind of maximizing the use of our 12 by 12 paper and giving lots of space to put pictures. And don't do like I just did. When I burnished this, I burnished it a little bit on an angle. Make sure you're nice and straight with all your folds. Okay, so we need 4 different pieces of pattern paper to go here. So I have another pattern, and we're just going to glue these down. For the exploding box to have a direction, so let's say this is always going to be the way I'm opening it. So this will always be the top of the box. If you have a pattern paper that has a direction to it, it is important to think about that when you're putting this down then, if that's important to you. If you don't care, it's totally fine. I mean, people can turn it, obviously, and look at it. But when I like to do them, I like to have a direction. So I like to think about the patterns that I'm putting down and how the person will actually look at it when it's open. Now this pattern doesn't really have a direction, so it doesn't really matter so much, okay? All right, so now we're going to open up our panels. And we're going to do the same thing with a different pattern here. So this is going to go like this. Okay, so we need 8 of these. 3, 6, 7, 8, yes, 8. Okay, so I'm just going to glue these down, just like I did the other ones. Put this aside to dry, and then we're going to work on the next layer. We're going to do the exact same thing here, so I'm probably going to speed this up, but we have this other piece of, this is going to be our middle layer. Again, I have 4 of one pattern, and that's going to be the ones we fold over, and 8 of another pattern, and that's what we're going to lay down on the inside, okay? Okay, our second layer is done. I'm going to put that aside, let that dry a little bit. And we're going to do the exact same thing for layer number 3. Here I have my 4 for the one pattern and my 8 for the other pattern. Okay, that's the innermost layer. Let's put that aside. And finally, let's work on the lid. Okay, so the lid, this is a 6.5 by 6.5 piece of paper, and it is scored at 1 1/4 on each side. So score at 1 1/4, turn, score at 1 1/4, turn, score at 1 1/4, turn, and so forth. Okay, so this is also going to get some pattern paper. So I have 4 pieces of 1 1 1/8 by 3 7/8. So these are going to go on the side like that. And then I have the same 3 by 7/8 by 3 by 7/8 for the top here. Okay, so let's put those on before we have to burn it. Outside of our box, we're going to make some cuts. So just along one side here of one of these small boxes, cut up, and then you can cut out just sort of a little sliver here. And same on the other side. And same thing on all 4 corners. Okay, a little bit of glue on each of the corners here, and then fold them in and make that corner nice and square. Okay. Okay, to give our lid some strength, this is where that piece of chipboard comes into play. And just so it doesn't look yucky, I have another piece of pattern paper now. You'll notice this one matches the panel on the biggest layer we did. So again, it's 3 by 7/8 by 3 by 7/8. So let's put our box together now. Okay, so we have our foam square. Okay, so now before you stick things down, this is really important. If you're doing like the directional thing again, right? I put all mine in a direction because I have a top that I want somebody to, when they open this, this will be the top always. So for this layer, I made sure to do my patterns in the right direction. So be careful of that when you are about to stick this down, because once this is stuck, there's really no turning back here. Now I noticed one little mistake I made. I made my sticky pad a little bigger than it should be. So I'm going to take an X-Acto knife and trim that up a little bit. That little foam gives it a little bit of dimension so that they open much better, okay? So when we're closed up, we have something like this. For each of these, you can put little picture corners in each of the corners here. So these are little clear photo corners, and they come in a little sticky roll. And you can just peel them off. Now these are transparent, so it's really hard to see probably, but okay. And that way, when you have a photo, you can just, they're a little hard to get up here. This one doesn't want to work. There it goes. goes. Okay. So they just slip in there, right? The little corners. So you can certainly add those to each of the corners in here. And in the center, you could add something. You could add a sentiment, or I've seen people do little, like, you know, little 3D sculptures. But the center of the box kind of can be anything you want. Since I really kind of want this to be more of a photo album, I'm not necessarily going to put there. I may put a little sentiment in here, but for right now, I'm going to leave it blank. Now, obviously, with the patterns I did here, I kept them all the same, right? So I had the same pattern here, here, right? They're all the same. But you can definitely mix and match them, and they look great when you do that too. So totally up to you how you want to do it. When we're ready to, then we can fold it all up. And we'll get our lid. Now, sometimes the lid is a little tight. Sometimes you have to wiggle it a little bit. There it goes. Okay. And for the top, I think I'm just going to add a little bit of a bow. This is a little bit more of a masculine box, so now again I should figure out kind of where the top is so that when you open it, so I really want the top to be this way, and I kind of want the lid to be this way. That makes sense to me. So I'm going to have the bow kind of facing down. And that's it. That's all I'm going to do for the top there. And that's it. That's the photo, exploding photo box here. So you have lots of places to put pictures. So for each of the 3 layers, you have 4 that you could do here, and then you have 8 that you can do here. Again, if this is so open to sort of your creative juices, you don't certainly have to leave, you know, all of the panels to put photos in. You could do stamping on one of the panels on a layer, or you could do a sentiment or embossing. Treat them like little mini cards, you know. There's a lot that you can do for each of these layers. But I wanted to keep this kind of nice and simple. Each of the layers is exactly the same. And then you just end up with a really cool little box. The one thing I will say here, this lid is fairly tight on this box. You may want to increase the dimensions by like an 1/8, or even maybe just by like a 1/16. You don't want it too loose. And some of this will depend on your paper that you're using as well, right? If you're using really super thick paper, you're definitely going to need to increase the size of the lid to give it a little bit more wiggle room. If you're using really thin paper, then the dimensions for this might work. Mine is pretty normal cardstock, and this is really tight. I would rather have it tight, though, than loose, because a loose lid is kind of annoying on an exploding box. I would rather have it tight, because that kind of holds it all together then. So, and then when they open it up, okay. All right, that's it. Comments, questions, leave them down below. Again, I will put the dimensions of all of the pieces of paper in the comments, or in the description below. And that's it. Everybody have fun. Let me know if you make your own exploding picture box. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.